Sometimes, it isn't the loudest tragedies that cut the deepest. In the small, sun-scorched town of Orcutaja, nestled in the heart of Nigeria's sprawling savannah, silence ruled the day and suspicion colored the night. It was here, among the traditions and familiar faces of a tight-knit community, that Quami Tower's disappearance and later, his violent death would unveil the shocking extent of betrayal, greed, and bloodlust hidden beneath a seemingly peaceful facade. What happened to Quami Tower, and how did such a tragic tale remain unsolved for so long? Quami Tower wasn't just another farmer trying to make a living in the harsh but beautiful landscape of Orcutaja. At 37, he was a symbol of integrity, a hard-working man whose reputation stretched far beyond his fertile farmland. Widowed for 5 years, his entire world revolved around his bright and energetic 10-year-old daughter, Zola. More than anything, Quami wanted a future for her, a future bigger than Orcutaja. He dreamed of sending Zola to a school in the city, where opportunities abounded and the chains of small-town life couldn't weigh her down. Every action he took, every grain he harvested was for that dream. Yet, prosperity in places like Orcutaja doesn't come without its costs. Jealousy often grows alongside success, and few felt the sting of Quami's rise more acutely than his stepbrother, Abbasi. Once his business partner, Abbasi had been cast out after Quami discovered he'd been pocketing profits. While Quami had remained calm during the confrontation, there was no mistaking the anger beneath his words. "We don't cheat family, Abbasi, and this town is our family too." The wound was deeper than a broken partnership for Abbasi. He had lost faith in the community, and humiliation, he believed, could only be balanced by revenge. The last time anyone saw Quami alive was on a Thursday morning. As he often did, he was headed to the marketplace with a small sack of grains to negotiate next season's crops. Several witnesses said they had seen him talking or arguing with Abbasi just outside the market's gates. The argument, though hushed, had the sort of tension that made people uneasy. No one could remember what was said, but the animosity was undeniable. When Quami didn't return home that evening, Zola knew something was wrong. By midnight, she was frantically banging on neighbors' doors, her voice trembling as she cried, "Please help me find my father." The search party was formed swiftly, and within hours the town's collective, like flashlights, lanterns, anything they could find pierced the oppressive darkness. They searched fields and forests, riverbanks and trails, but nothing turned up except a single haunting clue: Quami's sandals, abandoned and half buried in the mud near a disturbed patch of earth by the river. And yet, there was no sign of Quami himself. Whispers began to ripple through the town's close-knit circles. Many pointed to Abbasi, unable to forget their argument or their long-standing animosity, but others pointed at the forest itself. They spoke of old superstitions, bad spirits that sought to devour souls burdened by guilt or pride. 3 weeks later, fateful coincidence delivered the first break in Quami's case. A local hunter, tracking game deep in the forest, stumbled across a shallow grave. When he unearthed the top layer of soil, he wasn't prepared for what lay beneath: the decomposed but unmistakable body of Quami Tower. It wasn't only the discovery of Quami's body that unnerved the town. Nearby was a cloth sack, its edges stained with dried blood, containing what seemed to be the very coins Quami had taken to the market. Even more chilling was the evidence found on a tree directly above his grave. Carved in jagged, uneven letters was the word trust. Suspicion now had its prime target, Abbasi. He was arrested almost immediately, but when questioned by the police, his response set the town alight with intrigue. "I didn't kill him," he claimed, his voice desperate but unwavering. "This isn't just about me. You think I could do this alone?" The police didn't know what to make of it until a name came up again and again in their inquiries: Mama Neoma. In Orcutaja, no one had the kind of reputation Mama Neoma did. To some, she was a healer, a spiritual guide who maintained the village's connection to their ancestors and traditions. But to others, she was far more sinister, a witch. Abasi, now facing life in prison, admitted to meeting with Mama Neoma weeks before Quami's death. According to him, he'd sought out a potion, something that would make Quami forgive him. Mama Neoma, he claimed, had given him what he asked for, but when Quami died, Abasi alleged it wasn't his doing but hers. She cursed the potion, Abasi said bitterly. When it didn't work, she told me the only way to fix it was blood. I had no choice. But Neoma had her own story. When confronted by the police, she scoffed at the allegations. That man, she said, her voice dripping with disdain, he's drowning in guilt. That's all this is, a guilty man looking for a way out. Yet, villagers remember seeing her in the woods that very night, carrying something heavy, something she refused to explain. When Abasi stood trial for Quami's murder, it became the most divisive case Orcutaja had ever seen. The evidence against him was strong: his ties to the murder site, his prior arguments with Quami, the undercurrent of mystery surrounding Mama Neoma refused to fade. Was she involved, or was she simply an easy scapegoat in a case already overflowing with questions? Abasi was convicted of Quami's murder and sentenced to life in prison. Mama Neoma, for all the rumors and accusations, walked free due to insufficient evidence. Her departure from Orcutaja only fueled the gossip that she had escaped justice. Years later, the case remains an open wound in Orcutaja's history. Abasi died in prison without ever admitting his full involvement, and Mama Neoma's name continues to be whispered in hushed tones by those who fear what might happen if her past comes to light. As for the forest, it never forgot. Those who venture too far into its depths still speak of, whisper slow, mournful voices that seem to echo the word carved above Quami's grave: trust. But perhaps the greatest testament to Quami's life is his daughter, Tolo. Grown now, she visits her father's grave every year, leaving flowers in his memory. It's not just a story, she told a journalist years later. It's my father's truth, and I won't rest until everyone knows what really happened. Quami Tower's story of betrayal and greed leaves a shadow over the small town of Orcutaja, even decades after his death. Do you believe Abasi acted alone, or was Mama Neoma the hidden puppet master? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, tag, and subscribe for more compelling true crime mysteries. Until next time, remember, sometimes the ones you trust most are the ones you should fear.